Hello everyone. In this section, I'll be discussing animal behavior or presentation. First topic, experience and behavior. Experience and behavior is often studied through a technique called cross-fostering. Cross-fostering is when the young of one species are placed in the care of adults from another species. Researchers then compare the cross-fostered young to non-cross-fostered young of the same species. They observe any change in the young and how the environment affects their behavior. Generally, researchers try to use species that have very different behaviors, but are also susceptible to cross-fostering. It turns out mouse species are perfect for this experiment. There's a California mouse species called Peromyscus californicus, whose male is very aggressive towards other mice, but at the same time very attentive toward their young. Then you have the male white-footed mice, Peromyscus leucopus, who is not aggressive and is less attentive toward their young. When the pups of these mouse species were cross-fostered, they indeed showed changes in behavior. The California pups raised by the Whitefoot mice were not as aggressive. Developmental experience can dictate aggression in these species. The results of the experiments also showed that the learned behaviors could be passed on to future generations. Researchers use what is called a twin study to observe environmental influences in humans. They compare the behavior of twins raised in the same household to twins that were raised apart. Twin studies have shown to be useful in studying disorders such as anxiety, schizophrenia, and alcoholism. Learning and imprinting. One way environment can alter behavior is through learning. Learning is the modification of behavior as a result of specific experiences. Learning involves the forming of memories by specific changes in neural connectivity. Imprinting is the establishment of a long-lasting behavioral response to a particular individual or object. In some species, imprinting is vital for survival of the offspring. Imprinting can only occur during a certain time during development. This is also known as the sensitive period. The sensitive period for gulls lasts 1 to 2 days. During this time period, the baby gulls pick up on certain characteristics of their parents that their parents have, and the parents learn to differentiate their young from other baby gulls. However, if the baby gulls do not imprint, then they are uncared for by the parent, and eventually they perish. Experiments show that newborn have no recollection of their mother. Rather, they imprint on the first thing they encounter with distinguishable characteristics. Experiments in greylag geese show that the young imprint on an object that is moving away from them, kind of like you see in the cartoons when the baby ducks are following their mama. When the hatch goslings spent their first waking hours with the human, they imprinted on the human and followed the person everywhere. They showed no knowledge of knowing their biological mother. Utilizing imprinting and cross-fostering, scientists have been able to save endangered species, like the whooping crane, but with some complications. When scientists cross-fostered whooping cranes with sandhill cranes, their efforts worked. However, since the young whooping cranes imprinted on their foster sandhill crane parents, they would not mate with other whooping cranes. Scientists resolved this issue by isolating the young cranes and only exposing them to sights and sounds of their own kind. Scientists have also used this tactic to help the cranes migrate to safer environments during climate changes. The young cranes imprinted on humans in crane suits, and they followed the human, who was on a small aircraft and on safe migration routes. Imprinting can also bring about evolutionary changes, namely song learning in songbirds. Spatial learning and cognitive maps. Spatial learning is the establishment of a memory that reflects the environment's spatial structure. Spatial structure is crucial for an animal to establish, as doing this can procure them food, keep them away from potentially hazard areas, and might even find them a mate. The female digger wasp is a prime example of spatial learning. When she leaves her nest in search of food, she hides the entrance from intruders. Upon returning, she flies right back to her nest, despite the thousands of other nests that look similar to hers. The wasp does this by using other landmarks to find her own nest. Some animals even develop a cognitive map, which is a representation in an animal's nervous system of the spatial relationships between objects and its surroundings. This map can contain this map can oh misspelled. This map can help animals find their way back to hidden food depots upon returning from migration, or vice versa. Learning, and I have a video attached with this slide, so watch that video and it'll tell you everything you need to know about associative learning. All right.
Next, as we move our way up, is what's called associative learning.
Cognition and problem solving. Cognition is the process of knowing that involves awareness, reasoning, recollection, and judgment. It was once thought that only primates and some marine mammals have a high thought process, but recent studies show that many other groups of animals, including insects, are capable of cognition. Problem solving is also a higher level thought process that requires some critical thinking. Problem solving is the cognitive activity of devising a method to proceed from one state to another in the face of real or apparent obstacles. Chimpanzees are able to use problem solving. For example, if you place a chimpanzee in a room full of boxes and hung a banana from the ceiling, the primate would figure out a way to stack the boxes to get to the banana. Some bird species of ravens also exhibit problem solving, but it varies between the individual birds. Many acquired problem solving skills come come with the individuals observing other experienced animals. And these are my references. That's it.